Right after a car accident, a lot of people tell me, I feel okay, maybe just a little sore. So they go home, skip the doctor, and figure if something was really wrong, they'd know it. But here's the problem. Some of the most common injuries after a crash don't fully show up for hours or even days. And if you wait too long to get checked out, the insurance company will argue that you weren't really hurt or that something else caused your pain. I'm Kevin Cheney, a personal injury attorney here in Colorado, and I've seen strong cases weaken simply because someone delayed medical treatment after an accident. In this video, I'm going to explain when you should see a doctor after a car accident, why timing matters for both your health and your claim, and how gaps in treatment can affect whether you're able to recover. Because if you try to tough it out and don't document your injuries early, you could put both your recovery and your compensation at risk. And that's a mistake that's hard to undo later. The rule I tell clients in Colorado, don't wait for proof, go on a timeline. Did you walk away thinking I'm probably fine, but now you're second guessing it? Here's the simple timeline I use with real clients after a crash. You should go right now if you have any red flag symptoms. You should go within 24 or 72 hours, even if you feel mostly okay. The same day symptoms show up if they start later, and within a week for a follow-up, even if you already went to the ER or urgent care. Why so strict? Because two things happen when you wait. Injuries get worse and insurance companies get louder. In Colorado, a delay is one of the first things an adjuster points to when they argue that your pain must not be from the crash. So go today if you have any red flag symptoms. If any of these are happening, don't sleep it off. Go to the ER, call 911 if needed. Red flags after a crash include a head hit, blackout, confusion, or if you lost time. A bad headache that's new or getting worse. Vomiting, dizziness, or vision changes. Neck pain plus numbness or tingling or weakness in an arm or leg. Chest pain, trouble breathing, or rib pain that makes it hard to take a full breath. Severe belly pain or bruising, especially from a seatbelt. New back pain with numbness, saddle numbness, or trouble controlling your bladder or bowels. A deep cut, obvious broken bone, or anything that looks not right. Here's the stakes. Some of the most dangerous injuries are the ones you can't see. Concussions, internal bleeding, and spinal issues don't always feel dramatic in the moment, especially with adrenaline. If you're wondering, am I overreacting? I'd rather you be embarrassed for 10 minutes in triage than be tough at home and end up with a bigger problem. Number 2, if you feel okay, get checked within 24 to 72 hours anyway. A lot of common crash injuries show up later. The big ones, whiplash and neck strain, low back strain, shoulder injuries from bracing on the wheel, concussion symptoms that creep in, knee and hip pain from the dash or twisting. Adrenaline is real. Also, you might not notice pain until you stop moving and try to sleep. Quick story that I see all the time. Someone gets rear-ended on I-25, car's banged up, they're annoyed, they exchange info, they tell the officer, I'm fine. Next morning, they can't turn their head, they wait another week because now they're busy, and now you've got two problems. First, your body is stiffer, more inflamed, and harder to treat. And second, the insurance company says, if it was serious, why didn't you go sooner? Colorado doesn't have a magic 72-hour rule that legally kills your case. But in the real world, gaps in care are like oxygen for the defense. If the other driver's insurer is looking for a reason to pay less, delay is the easiest story they can tell. So if you're mostly okay, here's my practical advice. Pick a spot and get evaluated within 24 to 72 hours. ER if it feels urgent, urgent care if it's more moderate, primary care if you can get in quickly. If the symptoms start later, go the same day they start. Some people feel fine for a few days and then it hits them. Neck tightness, headaches, low back pain, tingling down an arm, trouble sleeping. When that happens, the question becomes, do I wait to see if it goes away? My answer, not for long. If symptoms start, go that day or the next day. Why? Because your medical record should match real life. And real life is, I started feeling it on Tuesday. If you wait until next month, it's much easier for the insurance to claim it's from lifting a box, a workout, or just getting older. Also, this matters. Colorado injury claims are about damages. Your medical care is a big piece of how damages are shown, not because you're gaming the system, but because that's how the real world works. If it's not documented, it's easier to deny. If you already went to the ER, you still need to follow up within a week. A lot of ER visits go like this. They may rule out the scary stuff, maybe do imaging, tell you to rest, and send you home. That's good, but it's not the finish line. If you're still hurting after an ER or urgent care visit, schedule follow-up within about 7 days, often sooner. This could be your primary doctor, an orthopedic clinic, a concussion clinic, or physical therapy, depending on symptoms. Why follow-up matters. The ER chart is often short and focused on emergencies. Many soft tissue injuries don't show up on X-ray. You need a plan, restrictions, therapy, meds, referrals. It creates a clean timeline that makes sense. And from the legal side, consistent follow-ups help show that you took your health seriously. In Colorado, defense lawyers love to argue that you didn't mitigate your damages, meaning you didn't take reasonable steps to get better. Staying on top of care takes away that argument. Now, if you're treating but not improving, don't just push through. Here's another point people miss: when you should see a doctor again if you've already started treatment. If you've done a couple weeks of rest, maybe some chiropractic or PT, and you're not improving or you're getting worse, don't keep repeating the same week forever. An example of when it's time to reassess. Pain is the same after 2 to 3 weeks of consistent care. You can't work or sleep normally. You have new numbness or tingling. Your headaches are increasing. Your shoulder or knee feels unstable, or you're stuck taking pain meds just to function. This doesn't mean go get an MRI immediately for every ache. It means check back in with a medical provider who can widen the evaluation and decide what's appropriate next. From a claim perspective, it also prevents the insurer from saying they chose passive treatment forever and never tried to fix the real issue. Good care is not about maximizing bills. It's about getting you better and documenting what's actually going on. Now, what to say at the appointment so it helps you medically and legally. You don't need fancy words. You do need clarity. Tell them, this started after a car crash on whatever date, where you hurt in plain terms: left neck, right shoulder, low back. What makes it worse? Turning your head, sitting, lifting, stairs. How it affects your day, sleep, work, driving, caring for kids, and any prior issues in that area. Be honest, but explain what's different now, what not to do. Don't guess. If you don't know, say you don't know. Don't downplay because you feel awkward. This is your health. Don't exaggerate. If it looks unreliable, that hurts you. And a practical tip: if you have bruising, swelling, or visible marks like a seatbelt bruise, take photos early. Those fade fast. How timing affects your Colorado claim without the legal lecture. 2 Colorado-specific realities that matter here. First, you generally have 3 years to file a lawsuit for injuries from a motor vehicle crash in Colorado. That sounds like a lot of time, but waiting months to start care can sink value because it gives the insurer room to argue that the injury isn't connected. Number 2, Colorado uses modified comparative fault. If they can pin enough blame on you, it reduces what you can recover. And if you're 50% or more at fault, you can be barred from recovery. Medical timing doesn't decide fault, but it absolutely affects whether your injury story is believable. So when you hear me say go sooner, it's not scare tactics. It's because I've watched insurers use delay to pay pennies on the dollar. The biggest mistakes I see after a crash. If you want a simple don't do this list, here it is. Waiting weeks because the car damage looks minor. Your body doesn't care what the bumper looks like. Only going once and never following up even though symptoms continue. Gaps in treatment with no explanation. Telling everyone you're fine out of politeness, then changing the story later. Stopping care too early because the adjuster calls and acts friendly. The adjuster's job is not to make sure that you heal. Their job is to close the claim. When you actually can wait a little. Now, there are a few situations where it's reasonable not to rush to the ER. No red flags, pain is mild, you can move normally, symptoms are improving each day, you can get a prompt appointment with your primary care or urgent care. Even then, I like the 24 to 72 hour window because it protects your health and your timeline. But if you're steadily improving and truly back to normal, you may not need ongoing care. The key is listen to your body and act fast when the trend changes. Here's what you should take away. Go immediately for red flags. If you're mostly okay, get checked within 24 to 72 hours. If symptoms show up later, go the day they start. If you already went once, follow up within a week if you're still hurting. And if you're not improving, reassess. Don't drift. And if you're in Colorado and you're not sure what type of care makes sense, or you're worried the insurance company is already building a case against you because you waited, my office can talk it through with you. No pressure, just clarity. And don't miss the next video because it's one of the fastest ways people get financially trapped after a crash. How to handle a total car when you still have a loan. If your car is or might be totaled, that video can save you from signing the wrong paperwork or getting stuck paying for a car that you can't drive.